Hey, real quick before we start the show, I want to announce something super cool. The Dead Meat Podcast is now also going to be hosted on Chilling. Chilling is a really great horror-focused audio app with thousands of horror stories to binge, including stuff narrated by yours truly, as well as brand new content including full-length horror novels, other podcasts, and more. If you like the Scary Stories episodes of the podcast, you're going to discover so many other amazing narrators on Chilling. Their new update comes with creator profiles, community discussions, the ability to follow your favorite creators so you get notified when they release new content, and so much more. Right now, you can subscribe at a 25% discount off the annual plan when you subscribe through the website, chillingapp.com, and use the code DEADMEAT2023. Once again, that's chillingapp.com, code DEADMEAT2023. All right, on to the show.
What do you think?
I think we're dead meat. Real dead meat.
You're dead meat! Go ahead and laugh, you guys. If I ever find a little bastards that did this, they're dead meat.
Welcome to the Dead Meat Podcast, your horror safe haven. I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James, and we're married, and we like to get scared together.
Molly's happy to be here.
Molly's, if you hear a panting in the background, that's not Chelsea getting hot and heavy for me. That is Molly the dog.
She's trying to climb off your lap.
Molly, just love me as much as you love Mom. Come on. Yep, there you go. Dog transfer.
The baby.
All right, today we are discussing, because we didn't have time to watch all the Phantoms like we wanted to.
No, hopefully for next episode.
Yeah.
Everyone, please watch it.
Because we're going to be watching a lot of movies.
We're going to be watching so many fucking movies.
So check that out.
Probably doing a lot of homework. Because I just want to say something really quick.
Yeah.
A lot of people want more research episodes, and I get it. You have to fucking watch them. if I do them.
The people who want them watch them.
I know.
Yeah, it's like all the people who email me being like, "Can you cover more classic movies on the kill count?" It's like I'd love to, and I know that you would love to, but there is a silent majority that's like, but we'll get to them. Yeah. It'll be all right. Phantom will be a half research. It'll be kind of like a testing ground.
Yeah.
But since we didn't have time to watch 9 fucking Phantom movies yet, I suggested this Triangle from 2009.
Saw someone post about it on Reddit.
This was I think last year when I went on my little break. I was playing lots of Sea of Thieves with movies on in the background. This popped up on Shudder. And was
it on like Shudder TV or whatever?
No, I was just scrolling through, and that was when I had the time to just, what's this? I'll put it on and just have it on in the background. And so I just chose this movie randomly, not knowing what it was. Triangle from 2009, and I fucking loved it.
Oh, you watched it that recently? I don't know why I thought you had seen it like when it came out, or like you watched it in college or something.
It was like last year, but it was a distracted watch, so that's why some things did surprise me again. But I had the overall gist, and this one, we really don't want to say anything if you haven't seen it and are considering it. Definitely watch it blind if you're at all interested. I even hesitate to say make any comparisons to other movies because that might give the game away.
I can think of one specific movie I would compare it to, but that comparison immediately gives away what this is.
For sure. So this is it's got some action to it. It's spooky. It's boat based.
It's cerebral.
It's cerebral. It's British. It actually never got a U.S. theatrical release, I saw.
Oh, okay.
It was the co-production between the UK and Australia.
Okay,
lots of Australian actors
there's
here.
A lot of Australians.
There's a 19-year-old Liam Hemsworth, if that encourages you to go watch it. He's the boy. They refer to him as the boy.
Yeah, they call him the boy a lot.
I guess he's 19 in real life. He's playing an 18-year-old.
The boy.
It is weird, though, because he's like, He's a built guy even at that age, and they're like, yeah, the boy. Go get the boy. This boy who like sleeps on your boat.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I really enjoyed it, especially a second time. And how'd you feel about it as your first time? You did have it a little spoiled.
I had it a little spoiled. I will not name names, but I had a central thing about this unfortunately spoiled.
Which is such a big thing because, like, you know, spoilers vary in their intensity. If it's the, reveal of a whodunit, that's a pretty big spoiler. If it's like a minor thing, it doesn't really impact. This spoiler was so big that literally when I found out,
you were like, "What do you know about this movie?" And I said, "I don't really know anything except blank." And you just immediate head and hands. You were so disappointed.
I suggested changing the movie that we watched.
Yeah.
Based on that.
And I said, well, no, I still want to watch it.
I'm glad you,
curious.
Yeah, for sure. Because I do like this movie even knowing what happens. I think I like how it's shot. I like how it's acted. Melissa George is really good in the lead role. Mm-hmm. She's kind of a kick-ass protagonist to follow. And I don't know how
really interesting and nuanced character for reasons we will get into. Also, she was in Sugar and Spice. She is the cheerleader in that movie she's like a goth babe in that movie, and her character is obsessed with Conan O'Brien.
What's Sugar and Spice?
It's the one I was on This Ends at Prom, a very good podcast with BJ and Harmony.
That's right.
Yes, where they review kind of slumber party flicks and talk about if they hold up as adults.
And that was the one that you
we
did?
all really liked Sugar and Spice. I had good memories of it, and watching it again, we all had a really good time. It's the same, I think the same director, writer as Drop Dead Gorgeous. It's not quite Drop Dead Gorgeous levels of good, but it's up there.
Okay. So and then her love interest in this is, I didn't realize it until right before we started filming. He's the fucking brother in The Invisible Man. Like the shitty brother of Adrian. Like Adrian's lawyer and brother who helps gaslight her and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like the main guy in this. I didn't even realize it. I believe he is a New Zealand actor. Everyone else seems to be Australian, I think. They're all doing American accents. Sometimes it slips. Whatever, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we can say without, because literally it's a movie where as it unravels, it's so built upon a thing that you can't spoil, but you need to discuss it for discussing this movie. So
yeah, I think it's really ambitious and cool. It's got this weird kind of late 2000s digital look to it.
Yeah, it's kind of blown out. Like a lot of brights. It looks late 2000s, but it didn't kill my enjoyment of the movie. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's whatever. And like I said, I like the way it's shot. I think it really ties together the action, and there are some a little bit of spooky parts to it. I'd say it's mostly actiony and cerebral, like you said.
Yeah.
But I think that's all we can say in the spoiler-free section.
Yeah, I think so.
Because we're going to have to get into it. So go watch it if you haven't. I think it's still on Shudder. I just saw someone post on Reddit 5 days ago about it.
Oh, on the Shudder subreddit? I mean, someone posted about this on the Dead Meat subreddit.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going around on other YouTube channels or anything, because I have seen an uptick in requests and discussion about this movie.
Weird,
so if this has been covered in other channels, we're not doing it because of that. We're doing it because I liked it when I watched it last year, and then I did see some comments talking about it, so I was like, oh yeah, let's do that one.
You know, you never know what we see on the Reddit. We look at it.
Spoiler alert, I see all.
We see everything in the subreddit.
Okay, so now we're beginning the spoilery section. You are warned.
I don't know why. I wish I wrote down why I wrote this.
Yeah.
I just wrote Greg apostrophe the triangle apostrophe harbor.
I wrote that too.
Why did we write that?
I don't know. Greg the triangle harbor.
Greg the triangle harbor.
Why did we write that?
Why did we write that?
I don't know, but later we find out when he's making a distress call, he's like, triangle to Coast Guard, and we realized
it's the boat.
Weird triangle.
Oh, weird triangle.
Weird triangle. I thought it meant Bermuda Triangle.
I thought that this was going to be a Bermuda Triangle movie also.
Is it not? Does it not take place in the Bermuda Triangle?
How would you call your boat triangle?
I don't know. I guess sails are triangular. It's a sailboat.
There's so many more kick-ass things.
I know.
To name
Come up with a fun boat name, dude.
Just triangle.
You go to Catalina Island, you see a harbor full of dorky, fun, raunchy boat names.
Are boats like racehorses where you can only use a name once?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so, right?
Explains why some of those names are. Because I remember we were on Catalina, and we were looking at all the boat names, and they're all super weird because I think they have to be. There's no names
for communication purposes.
You can't.
Right?
They're not like username. You can't just put like numbers. You can't pick something cool like Darth Vader 00158. You know.
Yeah.
You gotta just pick something stupid sounding, like racehorses.
Yeah, not everyone can be like boats and hoes or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like there's lots of like boat names are like fake tombstones in how raunchy they can be, where it's like just a little bit raunchy.
Oh yeah.
You know, where it's like, oh, the adults will laugh at that and the kids won't really know the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't think of any.
I know. I'm trying to think of. I can't. I'm sorry. I got triangle in my head. A stupid fucking boat name. So yeah, if you're watching this, then you either don't care or you've watched the movie. It's a fucking time loop movie, dude.
It's a time loop.
Yeah, which is really that's what you knew.
Yeah,
and that's not revealed until the midpoint.
Until kind of far in.
Yeah. But there were still some surprises because you find out it's a time loop and that the person who's trying to kill them is the lead character.
I figured though.
But then it's like, but wait, there's a third one of her, and there's like a different iteration of the loop.
Yeah.
The loop is the subject of a lot of conversation online. A lot of people trying to break it down, and I feel as though there's not an exact science to it in like a I mean, Looper's not great at it, but it tries, or like a primer, or like a
I was thinking Time Crimes is the movie this made me think of.
Those try to make sense, at least with an internal science-y logic. I don't think this does as much because I think it's more of a
cosmic
cosmic
punishment
gumbo. Yeah.
Instead of this person has traveled in time, therefore we're obeying laws of time travel.
Yeah.
This is not really that.
It's not. And so like that's why you get these weird little variations in the loops that you see. That's why some things reset and some things don't, because you get like a pile of bodies in a very cool part, but then the message on the mirror needs to be rewritten. So like some things reset, some things don't. But again, like for me, it doesn't bother me because especially they make it clear that this is hell or a purgatory.
It's pretty, I don't want to say obvious, but there's a scene where we kind of spell out, here's the mythology this is based on.
Oh, the Sisyphus conversation? Yeah, and the boat is named Aeola. Aeolus, as Liam says. Aeolus, which is
like the god of wind.
As they explain, the god of wind and the father of Sisyphus.
Right.
And so they explain the whole deal with Sisyphus. They literally, like you said, spell it out. And then in the end, there is a very obviously supernatural character, the taxi driver, who like, I can only imagine watching this and not picking up on that and then being like, why is that guy acting so fucking weird?
Yeah.
But like, he's very obviously, how do you say it? Karen? Not manager complaining Karen, a Charon, Greek figure who ferries people across the river Styx to the afterlife. Yeah. The taxi driver is that at the end. So it's very obviously spelled out and explicitly a purgatory type thing. But you don't know that the first time you're watching it. And I think it's that reveal is fun as you pick apart things.
Yeah. And there's something specific about her character, our lead's character, that makes this all really interesting.
Yeah.
Because she becomes rather unreliable.
You could say that.
As the story goes on. I mean, it's getting towards the very end of the movie. It feels like it's about to end so many different times.
Yeah.
And then it just doesn't, and it just keeps going.
Because you're like, oh, we've reached the end of the loop. Now what? But then, like, when she goes overboard, but then you follow that one.
And then it keeps going. And then it keeps going.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of cool.
Yeah. So I guess we can, now that we've kind of done a broad overview, we can go back to the beginning. And, it's the opening credits are done with all these scenes that have more meaning later, where she's getting ready. She's cleaning up her son's mess. She hears the doorbell ring, but there's no one there.
Yeah, and her son spills blue paint.
Mm-hmm.
She gets it on her dress. I'm trying to think of other, like, just little things that come back.
Yeah, what's interesting is that in these clips, she doesn't seem overly angry at him. Mm-hmm. But then later, we see that she's pissed. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, this is the reveal at the end, is that, like, turns out she was abusive towards her autistic son. At least in this moment. Maybe this is the first time it's happened, but she walks over and slaps him pretty casually.
It seems like this is... Because the way she talks to him later, they're in a car, and she says something like, all those times that I've done, like, I forget how she phrases it. She basically says, that wasn't mommy.
Yes.
This is mommy.
I'm mommy.
And that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, which is the language of an abuser.
Right, yeah.
For sure. Yes, we see this. Oh, pardon. Sorry, I'm drinking this Celsius. This delicious Celsius Live Fit sparkling lemon lime.
That noise that just came.
Sorry, y'all. Yeah, so that's the opening credits. It's very dreamlike, and you find out later it's because, you know, it's in the middle of a loop.
Right.
But then we're like introduced to the other characters on the harbor.
Greg, the Triangle Harbor.
Yep. And his friend Sally, who she's like the first one we meet. So I'm like, oh, she's a main character. She's important. And she's like, I have my friend Heather, who I want you to hook up with Greg, the Triangle Harbor. So I'm like, oh, these two are important characters.
Yeah.
They're not.
They're not at all.
Heather disappears in like 10 minutes.
Heather disappears so quick. I'm kind of shocked we never see her again.
Yeah. And I know that one person online posited that it was something to do with they got a little overcomplicated in their explanation of like how this is a punishment for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
Except Heather was good, so she didn't. But I think it's literally just Melissa George's punishment. Jess is her character's name. Although, you know, being introduced to these other characters without her, I guess that's a little confusing, but it's a movie.
Yeah, at first I couldn't tell who was supposed to be fucking who.
Yeah.
This boat. Because it's a lot of kind of day drunk white people. And I can't tell who's in a relationship with who, what's going on.
Oh, yeah, this is the opposite of The Blackening.
Yeah, it really is.
We're
white
really
people
getting
on a
some
yacht.
whiplash here. But, yeah, because the guy's name is Downey, his friend. Downey, who's married to Sally.
Downey's married to Sally. Sally brought her friend Heather, and Sally wants Heather to fuck Greg.
But Greg wants to fuck Jess.
But Greg wants to fuck Jess, who's like our main character. And then Heather is not really into Greg, but she sees the boy.
She says, I'm kind of into the boy.
I'm into the boy.
I'm liking the boy, she says.
Yeah.
They call him the boy.
I don't know.
And I don't know how old Heather is.
What was his real name?
Victor.
The
Victor
boy?
the boy. Oh.
Victor?
Brahms?
No. In this.
Yeah, this is Victor the boy.
His name's Victor?
His name's Victor.
It just doesn't seem like a...
Boy name?
Yeah, like an 18-year-old Liam Hemsworth name, like Victor.
Yeah, I mean, Victor's got to grow up too.
Yeah.
All Victors were 18-year-old
boys.
boys.
Should be like Ethan or something.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Ian. Ian would work too.
Yeah,
maybe.
Victor just
Hey,
sounds
Victor.
so formal.
Yeah.
There's a CGI seagull.
It's our transition seagull.
Yeah.
It helps us transition between scenes because it'll be like they're on a boat and the seagull's there, and then he flies up and it follows him, and then we pan down and they're like in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah.
Seagulls are all over this movie.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a lighthouse thing where they're bad omens.
Bad luck to kill a seagull.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jess goes to sleep on the boat.
She also she says she can't remember where her kid is because I think the boy asks her like, "Oh, you were gonna bring your kid. Where is he?" And she just kind of pauses for way too long and then says, "Oh, he's in school and it's a Saturday."
Yeah, and you don't actually see that interaction until the very end.
Yeah.
Because in this first scene, you just see her and the boy walking, and Greg is like, "Hey, you okay, Jess?" And the boy's like, "No, I don't think she is." And then he like explains later this conversation. Then you get to so I love that parsing out of the information.
Yeah.
How it's like, oh, you heard that this happened, and then later you get to see it actually happen.
Yeah.
And see the reason why it's so weird. But yeah, she's very out of it. She seems kind of like stunned. and she takes a nap. And I think that when she sleeps, this is kind of when she forgets that she's in a loop.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah, because she's also, when she's sleeping, she's having flashes of her washing up on the beach like she does in the end, and the crabs and like her, and then she like wakes up from the beach and then wakes up in the boat. And I feel like that's kind of a reset of her memory.
Right. Because I think Sally wakes her up and says something about dreams and...
Oh, I didn't catch the... Oh, okay. I mean, that's probably Heather, because Heather... what I like about Heather is that
It is Heather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that she's introduced to by Sally to kind of get with Greg, but Heather immediately sees that Jess and Greg are trying to be a thing, and she's like, no, I'll help
Right.
Jess. Like, I like how nice of a person Heather is.
Yeah.
I didn't clock that line. That's cool that you wrote that.
Yeah, she says something about dreams. I'll just put it in the fucking clip because I can't remember what she says.
Roll clip.
Apparently bad dreams cure you of real life stress.
There's also another clip that I did clock, a couple of lines, and it's Jess explaining how with her autistic son, Tommy, that every day's the same, that Tommy needs to have everything the same every day or else he'll freak out. She also mentions about, Greg replies something about, well, you can't be everywhere all the time. And of course, these lines have more meaning later because
She is everywhere.
she is everywhere. There are at least 3 of her running around on the boat at a certain point.
Yeah.
And every day is the same.
And
for her.
she also talks about how she just wants a day off.
She wants one day off from her son. And I did this Reddit post really like underline that she gets this day off from her son, but it's hell. It's like her trying to get back to her son. But I like those little things that have more meaning the second time through.
Yeah, after she wakes up, the wind just kind of disappears and they're just stuck on the water.
Boat just is completely still. It's a very cool visual.
This shot's really nice. It's funny because you can tell that's the part of the movie where they change from shooting in the actual ocean or water to we're in a large tank in a studio. But it does look really cool.
It looks real cool. And then they just see this fucking storm rolling in, and holy shit, would that be terrifying if you're out on the open water and just see this like large dark clouds moving towards you, and you're not even moving.
That's some of my worst nightmares.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of boats. It depends what kind of boat, I guess. I don't really like...
you don't like fast,
I don't like
boats.
small, fast boats. I'm not super into that.
So no, what are they called in Deep Rising? Instead of, they're sea-doos.
I feel like I could be okay with a little jet ski if I'm the one in control.
Oh, okay.
The
Sure.
idea of being at someone else's mercy, I'm one of those, is not fun to me.
I when I was a kid, I had one friend who had a lake house, and I would always ride on the jet ski with her parents, and I was like, I always wanted us to tip over and fall. It was the most fun part.
It would hurt, right?
You know, you're a kid. Nothing hurts.
I guess. I'm just afraid of my neck getting snapped.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just freaks me out.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah.
So this storm hits them. When that wave knocks into their boat, oh man.
I hate it.
And they're like trying to cut the lines, and like shit's swinging around and threatening to hit them. All the passengers are below deck with life vests on. Heather gets sucked out a window.
Yeah. Bye, Heather.
Bye, Heather. That's
She's
it.
gone from the movie.
Yeah,
She goes back to her home planet kind of thing.
Yeah, Sally will scream her name for another half hour or so.
Yeah, she's always in our thoughts in this movie. But yeah, just really chill characters, seemed nice.
Yeah, seemed nice.
Some people theorize that she's the only one who actually survived.
Oh yeah, like everyone else dies here, and then they're in the afterlife, but Heather like was swept away and like didn't die, was maybe rescued somehow. I don't know. I like movies with different interpretations.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the budget is $12 million.
Okay.
That seems about right.
Yeah.
But it's not a huge budget, even in 2009, and I think that they do a good job making this ship's capsizing look really scary. Because there are only a couple of very wide long shots, and those have I think CGI waves or some effects. But because those shots, there's only 2 of them, I think they were able to put the money and time into making them look pretty good.
Yeah.
Even with this budget. The rest of this sequence is shot really close inside the boat as it fills up, where they're probably just in a water tank. And like,
well, even that's the stuff that makes me freaked out, is the water inside the boat that you're stuck in. Not even the wide open water. It's being stuck in an enclosed space where you're drowning.
where it's filling. Yeah. So that's happening here, and like it's shot in a way that makes it scary, and like you see those characters freaking out.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think growing up in Michigan, I just was raised with the fear of water in me, because Michiganders, we spend so much time near water, on the water.
You don't look where you're going, you drive into a lake, man.
Yeah, for real. You spend lots of time driving by water. It just has always freaked me out.
Yeah. Okay, so now their boat's capsized. The storm kind of like passes them by, and they're just hanging out on this upside down boat.
Yeah, when all of a sudden, smokers! Smokers!
Yeah, the fucking an ocean liner rolls up to them.
Oh, I wish we could just review Waterworld. But not even Waterworld, the movie, just the stunt show at Universal.
It's a great stunt show. Never take it away, Universal.
Please, Universal. I know at least one person from Universal is watching this podcast. Just they're out there.
Then let's have a different request for them than keep Waterworld.
Listen, if it's either all the bullshit or keep Waterworld, I don't know. I'm cutting all this.
No, it's fine.
Hey, want to talk to you about our sponsor this week, Bird Dogs. James and I went to Disneyland last week, and on our way up to the main gate, I noticed James wince. When I asked him what was wrong, he informed me that his underwear and his balls were getting all bunched up and uncomfortable down there. It was a very romantic start to my birthday at Disney. Bird Dogs are comfy, stretchy shorts that have underwear built inside of them that gives you plenty of room and keeps you cool and dry all day long. Their khaki shorts are designed to fit slimmer in the thighs and legs to give you a truly sculpted look. In fact, they're not even khaki. Bird Dogs invented a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki but isn't stiff or restricting. Their fabric is also anti-stink and sweat wicking, so you can go hug Mickey without worrying about him flagging down the Disney police because your balls just smell that bad. Right now, if you go to birddogs.com/deadmeat or enter promo code deadmeat, you'll get a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's birddogs.com/deadmeat or promo code deadmeat for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your bird dogs off, we promise you.
So the ocean liner rolls up. I guess it just happens to pass them close enough to where they can step off the boat. You don't get a wide enough shot to see the...
I don't know how they got up there.
Yeah, because you just see them like stepping onto the boat.
You can't just board a boat like that.
Yeah.
Those sides are smooth and slippery. There's no... You'd have to be like...
Later on, they're looking at a picture of the boat and they're like, yeah, see, that's where we boarded. And then they show it. I'm like, I don't see like a fucking platform or whatever. But whatever. They get on the boat after they see someone.
They predicted YouTube comments and just put that in.
Yeah. Before they get on the boat, they do see someone on deck. But because the sun's behind the person, they can't tell who it is.
Yeah.
And then the person like doesn't respond or wave or anything. They just kind of disappear. So it's like, oh, there's someone on the boat. But the boat seems deserted when they get on it.
This setting and kind of the time loopness of it reminds me of the Nonary games. It's another anime murder mystery game that I really like.
How many of those have you played?
A few. I feel like Danganronpa and then the Nonary games are the two big ones I have played.
Okay.
But the very first game in the Nonary games takes place on basically a replica of the Titanic, and there's also time shenanigans going on, and it's all like puzzles and escape rooms, and it's cool.
That's cool.
But I just kept thinking of it during this because it really reminded me a lot of it. It's just such a specific setting, just creepy, abandoned.
Yeah.
Old liner.
Ghost Ship has it.
Yeah.
Deep Rising has it a little bit. It's not as old, but still like empty cruise ship. And it is like a creepy setting. These boats are fucking huge. They take a lot of people to keep them running.
All the hallways look the same. I mean, that's why hotels are scary. And there are references to a very famous hotel in this movie. It's the same kind of feeling.
Yeah, there's the room 237 on the boat is the site of a lot of stuff happening. And even inside that room, the wallpaper, at least one part of the wallpaper, looks like the carpet in The Shining.
I'll give this a pass on the Shining reference. I'm a little over it now in movies. I think unless it's something very clever, I'm kind of good with Shining references. We've done it. I've seen the axe shot enough times. It looks cool, but we can retire it, I think.
Yeah.
Room 237 or 217 is a little obvious too, but this was 2009.
It's 2009. They don't like linger on it. It's just like if you see it, there's not a close up on it.
When you see it, you shit bricks kind of.
And also apparently wasn't her address also 237?
It was.
Which I didn't even catch because it was so subtle. So good for them on that. And yeah, like the wallpaper accent is nice.
It does, yeah. And the kind of party that isn't happening in the main kind of ballroom felt very Shining-esque to me. The weird
they find food.
Spread of food that then all of a sudden is moldy. That felt very Shining to me.
Definitely, yeah. Eventually there's this killer running around because they're on this boat. They saw someone on it, and fucking Sally is like, maybe it's Heather. Yeah, dude. Heather beat you to this cruise liner.
It climbed
up
it.
And then was just like, I'm gonna ignore them. And
I'm gonna run around and hide from them. I'm gonna play a little fun game.
I like how her husband wasn't Doyle Downey.
Downey.
I like how Doyle is Downey.
Just immediately call him Doyle.
Doyle
Brunson.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. dude. Rest in paradise.
Yeah, Downey, when they first get on the boat, he's kind of humoring her. She's like, it could be Heather. He's like,
yeah, baby.
Yeah, I guess. But after, I don't know, 15 more minutes of it, he's like, no, it's not her. Why would she not say anything? They hear keys drop and there's no one there. And she's like, maybe it was Heather. It's like, why would she do that?
Yeah.
Why would she be running away from us?
Right. It's... Yeah, it makes no sense.
These characters, I'm like, why are Downey and Sally so and even Greg to a certain extent aren't that developed? It's because they fucking die.
I don't know why, but
quickly.
Downey and Sally specifically to me feel like characters that would show up in the later Chucky movies and or series.
Ooh, I could definitely see that. Curse Onward, the Nika era, yeah.
Just random family friends who are just there to be obnoxious and get murdered.
So yeah, they're walking around. They're seeing the symbolism. They're reading about the Yayola. Yayolas.
Yeah, that's what the boy keeps calling it because it's the Yayolas, but for some reason he pronounces it Yayolas.
Yeah, he's like Yayolas.
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 Oh, he's so handsome and dumb. We love it.
He's not that dumb.
No, he's not. He's just can't pronounce old Greek.
Yeah.
Names.
Yeah. As opposed to new Greek names.
It just made me think of aioli.
Aioli's
which is
good.
Delicious.
Yeah, it is. It's the best kind of mayo.
Aiolis.
It's the best thing mayo's ever given us.
I fucking love mayonnaise. I'm a gross little mayonnaise gremlin.
Oh, God.
It's so tangy and good. If it's good mayonnaise,
I guess.
I'll defend this.
I think it's the quickest way to ruin a sandwich if you put too much of it.
I disagree with that.
Oh, no, really? If you bite into a sub and it's spilling out over the edges?
Okay, that's
fucking gross,
that's
dude.
Gross, yeah.
Give me one of those tiny little yellow Herman packets and I'll put half of it on my sub and be good. But that's it. I don't need more than that.
Sure.
If you bite it and then the tomato and shit start sliding out of the sandwich because they're on this little slippery mayonnaise surface. Fuck that.
Tomatoes and mayo is really
those are two of my least favorite parts of a sandwich.
That just tastes like summer to me.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, thank you. Give it to me without it.
This will be the thing that makes everyone turn on me.
Ooh, mayonnaise? No, I think more people like it than not. I think more people are going to be on your side than mine. Vote in the comments below. Get that engagement up. Okay, so they're not talking about mayonnaise. Oh, yeah, she's walking around. She's like, I feel like I know this place.
Right. So that's, especially when she said that, I was like, okay, so the person we saw is definitely her. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be a bunch of her running around the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how this time loop works.
And when they hear these keys drop and they find them on the ground, it's her keys.
Yeah, she says these are my keys.
With a picture of her kid in there and everything. So their watches are all set to different times.
Yeah, so Everyone else's watches are set to like 11 something.
11:30.
And then her watch is set to
8:15, which matches
the one on the boat.
Yeah.
This is starting to feel, all the little clues and stuff in this movie remind me, and I think I've mentioned this before, of Mulholland Drive and the little insert on the DVD where it comes with a list of clues written by David Lynch that are like a scavenger hunt of things to look for during the movie to help you piece together what the movie's about.
Oh, that's
which
fun.
We were very into in college. It's what this is starting to feel like a little bit. It's all these little visual clues that are there to make you go crazy trying to piece this together.
Yeah, she sees someone in the mirror. It ends up being her, but other her runs away, and then the boy follows, and he runs in this kind of goofy way.
He runs like a video game character.
Yeah, his like arms are like a little bit too far away from his body as he's running, and they're swinging. Not enough.
You know what that feels like to me? And it's funny because having been on set and been in things before, you kind of realize that often when someone is moving like a total weirdo in a movie,
it's because they have to slow down for the camera.
It's because they have a timing that they have to fit with camera and maybe even sound, and sometimes that little dance is so fucking hard.
Yeah.
And
because it's like, oh, the action is run down this hall.
Great.
Not that fast.
Can you just like slow it down a little bit and like
steady cam guy,
sure,
he's got a heavy camera, he can't keep up with you.
And once you get back to past this one door, if you could like slow it down even more, and it's just, there's all these little things that you have to accommodate for, and sometimes you end up kind of looking like a weird duck or something because you're thinking about a gajillion things. So
that might be what happened.
I don't think he actually runs weird. I have a sneaking suspicion that's what happened.
I'm gonna look up Liam Hemsworth running and see.
I bet we can find a lot of him running in Hunger Games to compare.
Oh yeah.
I don't think they would have cast him in Hunger Games if he ran like that for real.
Maybe they didn't know until later. Maybe he just nailed the audition.
They forgot to do that in the screen test.
Yeah, they forgot to like have him run, and
we
like
forgot to have him run.
So like, yeah, everyone's doing really well except Liam.
Liam runs like he pooped his pants.
Yeah.
Did he poop his? Can we check? Make sure he didn't poop his pants. He didn't? Oh, no. Actually, I'm not sure what's worse.
That would have been an acute problem we could have solved.
We could have gotten him some clean pants, but no, he just runs.
That's just how it is. Fuck.
Yeah.
Maybe if he does poop his pants, he'll run a little more normal. Can we get him to poop his pants and try?
Man. Runs like he's got potato sacks under his arms.
Yeah, invisible sacks that he's trying to hold tightly to his body. Oh, man. I'm going to have to watch Hunger Games now and find out.
Yep.
Said no one in the past 5 years.
Did anyone marathon Hunger Games
for that
to prep
prequel?
For that new one?
Everyone know that there's a new one coming out? You didn't know? Oh, you didn't know?
It's a prequel about President Snow.
Yeah.
Get with it.
Yeah, baby. We're going to learn all about President Snow and his life.
Why?
I don't know. Money.
Money.
I guarantee it's not going to be.
Yeah.
Well, it was based because she wrote the prequel.
She did.
It's the book.
It is a book that she wrote, which I don't know how that was received, but now this is a movie based on that new book.
All right, Suzanne.
Those first two Hunger Games books I enjoyed reading.
Yes, I read them while I had swine flu.
Oh.
It helped.
I think that's on the back cover of one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yeah, Liam Hemsworth, he runs back into the big dining hall place, and he's all bloody, and he starts yelling at our main character, Jess, right?
Yep.
All these names are just so generic. I keep mixing them up.
He goes to like strangle. He's strangling her.
Yeah,
he's like choking her.
He thinks she did something to him, or she did do something that we're not privy to. And then she hears a.
No, she fucking puts her finger in the back of his head.
Yeah,
he has a hole in the back of his head.
There's like a hole in his head where there's brain stuff coming out, and
fingers that thing, dude.
Yeah, she puts her finger in it. She fingers it.
Yeah, and that I guess kills him.
I mean, yeah.
A finger in the brain. That'll do it. Yeah,
probably. The brain's weird though.
Yeah, you could do that, and then maybe you just like now steak tastes like roses.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, he loves model trains all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Just something.
He's getting Phineas Gaged up.
Yeah,
in this bitch.
yeah, just something different. But no, that it just
it just kills him. That's different, I guess.
Yeah.
He was living.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? It's purgatory.
Who knows? So she hears a gunshot, runs to the theater where there's a
little set piece
very
going on.
loud scene. Everyone's screaming.
Greg is shot.
Greg's been
He's
shot.
he's just dead. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I thought that guy was important.
Not a lot of Greg in this movie.
No.
For
as the love interest.
amount.
Although he does like, at first you're like, oh, Greg seems like a cool guy. But then later he's like, your brain is fucked. And maybe you think things are like this in your own little world, but like the rest of us are in reality. He's not quite as harsh, and he does apologize, but he does attack her mental health.
She was aiming a gun in his face.
This was before.
Is this a different one?
This is when she's like, I know, you get confused.
Yeah.
This is when she's like, I feel like I know this place. It's like deja vu.
Yeah, he
At
is
first he's
kinda
like,
weird.
well, ocean liners are all the same. But then later he's like, no. Oh, no. You know what he fucking does is because they see on the mirror the message written in blood saying, go to the theater. And this fucker is like, oh, I think it's the crew playing
The
a
crew's
prank
just
on
playing
us.
pranks.
I know boat guys like this. They probably saw us. They got pissed that they had to rescue us. And so this is their way.
I don't know too much about boat life, but I just get the sense that a big ship like this, everyone takes protocol very seriously because you kind of have to.
I don't know, hon. I do remember reading that when the Titanic survivors were saved, they got on board, and on the mirrors it said, go to the theater written in blood, and no one was there. It was the big old prank on them.
Yeah.
You know? Because I think the crew of those get mad when they have to rescue people out of the water.
The Carpathia.
Yeah,
They said,
damn it. I was trying to think of it.
Let's fuck with them a little bit.
Yeah, those Carpathians, they'll get you.
No, I'm sorry, dude. What you're suggesting is equally as ridiculous.
Yeah.
Don't pretend that makes more sense, because it really doesn't.
Yeah, he's like, maybe in your world, they're like, dude, maybe in your world, these crew members are all playing a giant game of hide and seek with you and writing on the mirror in blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now there's like a shooter up in the theater. It's going full fucking John Wilkes Booth here, and they're shooting down. Greg's dead. Fucking Doyle, Downey.
There you go.
Downey and
Dunstan checks in.
Dunstan checks out right here because he gets shot. And these shots are so violent. And
They are. Honestly, it made me uncomfortable.
It did. It's disturbing.
There is a very it's a little too realistic almost.
Because they're like taking cover from someone shooting them overhead.
Maybe in 2009 this didn't hit the same way.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable.
It's not fun to watch.
No, it's horrifying. This is the most horrifying moment.
I think
of the
this
movie.
is the hardest part to watch,
Especially
it just
'cause-
feels too realistic to me.
and especially because like they're almost getting away. Like Melissa George is like dragging Sally out of there to rescue her, and you're like, okay, they're gonna get away. No, a shot just blows up Sally's chest. It's like it's very disturbing.
Yeah, it's
and like props to the film. Like it's a well done sequence.
It's
just upsetting.
This is what our big chase sequence. The masked person's chasing our
Yeah, they've got a very Town That Dreaded Sundown type look, or Baghead Jason.
Yeah, it's a sack with holes.
It's like a burlap sack that they're just running around in, and they're running around in it. They don't take it off. But then again, Melissa George is running around in fucking wedges.
These cute little wedges that feel very it's wild how late 2000s, like this just looks like, yep, this is how we all dressed in college.
It's like very short jean shorts.
Yes, hoodie.
Over a white
with
just
a
tank top.
cami, little camisole tank top,
Oh,
and then
okay.
these fucking wedges that have the kind of wicker like detailing on them. Like the wedge part is that kind of like woven wicker type.
Yeah.
I had a pair of those. Every girl had the kind of like I don't know if it's wicker.
Maybe it's rattan.
Something like that kind of texture. Very, very boho. Everyone was boho, beachy, like Hollister kind of. That was the thing. That's
She
how everyone
runs around in them.
Yeah. It's,
This whole sequence is so fucking cool and really makes this character like a badass. Like she's resourceful. She's like throwing stuff to kind of distract and trick the killer where she is. She jumps down a level.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's like she's
swinging around on this thing. She looks like, it reminded me of the little Spider-Man show we saw at Disneyland when we were there.
Oh,
where
yeah.
he's climbing around on the top of that building.
It reminded me of Kate Winslet in Titanic when she's on the lifeboat and then like hops back onto the Titanic to get back with Leo on like a lower deck. She like swings from the top deck onto a lower one. It's really cool.
Watching Titanic again, I think Rose is such a badass character.
Yeah, she is. She wades through all that water to free Leo with an axe.
Yeah.
And she nails it in one go. And he trusts her, too.
He trusts her because he loves her.
Yeah. Titanic rules.
Titanic is so good, you guys. Like, obviously, we all know Titanic is good. But,
No, not all.
But
We don't all
Titanic
know.
is good.
Some people
I think
overlook how good Titanic is.
People misremember what that movie's like.
Yeah.
Big wreck. You gotta rewatch it now as a grown-up. It's fucking great. Basically, she's about to get shot by this masked person, grabs the gun. It's this whole, I mean, it's a great little
At one person, the shooter runs out of ammo while Jess is getting away, and they just throws the empty gun and hits her in the back and knocks her onto another level. It's very cool.
Our Jess corners the masked person, and the masked person says, you have to kill them. It's the only way to get home. Mm-hmm. And then she pushes the masked person overboard.
Yeah.
And then
so she's on this boat by herself.
Yeah.
And you're like, now what happens? But it's a very cool shot. I'm sure you noticed.
Yeah, there's these jump cuts.
Well, no. She like looks in the mirror and then the camera goes through the mirror.
Oh.
And so now it's like through the mirror with her as she goes out onto the deck and sees the triangle, the sailboat arrive and sees her and her friends. So that's why I think the shot of the ocean liner approaching, we both noticed, is a
reversed.
mirrored shot.
Yeah.
Because I forget which way, but the first time they see it, it's like approaching from one side of the frame, and the next time we see it's the other. Yeah. So it's like the camera goes through the mirror. So that's pretty cool.
Why does it do that? Do you
Go
think?
through the mirror?
Yeah.
I guess because this is like another loop.
I guess so, yeah.
Because now there's a second Jess and a second version of everyone.
Right.
And she realizes that she is the person who they saw on the deck. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh shit. And she like steps back without saying anything. So that explains that. And so you're like, okay, so now we're watching this loop take place.
Yeah. And so obviously, this is when I write, okay, so she's Sisyphus.
Yes.
If she's being doomed to do this thing over and over again.
And she like doesn't know how to approach it at first. We see that she is the one obviously who drops the keys that they hear, and she like runs away. Real nice sets here because there's this very long tracking shot when she's like running down the hall and she turns down a hallway, but the camera keeps trucking backwards and the hall is so long.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's really cool. After a while, we're watching this stuff play out from different angles as you do with these loops.
Yeah, this is going to get a bit word salad here because there's so much stuff happening at once and it's not all super linear or like, it's just a lot of set pieces.
Yeah. She finds Victor and tries to explain very poorly what's going on.
She does a bad job of trying to talk to Liam Hemsworth and tell him what's up. She goes too hard, too fast.
Yeah,
she shows up and goes, "There's two of me, and one of them is going to try and kill you,
and you're already dead in the dining room.
And you're dead, but also you're here." And it's just, girl, you gotta take him and show him the second you. Or something.
Yeah, you gotta present proof. You can't just be like, "Oh, now I'm dead, and now you're dead."
Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence.
He obviously does not believe her.
Freaked out,
and she's like grabbing him by the shoulders and trying to explain, and she pushes him back into a fucking hook on the side of the boat, and it goes into his head, and we both scream.
Yeah,
we're like, "Oh!" That explains
the
brain hole that gets fingered.
She did it to him.
So then she goes back to the dining room where he wanders in, and you're like, okay, so now this is the part where he strangles her. But wait.
It's different.
It's different because she steps out and it literally talks to the other her.
Yeah, so there are two of them.
Yes, she talks to
And
Jess
Liam
too.
Hemsworth is just laying there with a hole in his head, like, what the
What the fuck am I seeing? He died shortly after,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then like Jess 2 like runs away because Jess 1 has her gun,
Yeah.
but she doesn't have the bag. She
Right.
realizes like, oh, that other person was me telling me to kill them,
So
but I don't want to kill them all.
Right.
So she doesn't like bag head up, but she does take the gun. And then she's like pointing it at Jess 2, but she doesn't shoot. So Jess 2 just is like
Just kind of
slowly backs away and
out
runs
of the
away.
room. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's kind of just running around the ship at this point. She finds a bunch of notes that say if they board, kill them all. And it's a pile of notes where it's like, I don't know, like 100 crumpled up notes that all say if they board, kill them all. And then she also grabs a sheet of paper and writes that. I found this scene's kind of funky because I think it's like, it's supposed to be her writing it to see if her handwriting matches, but you would recognize your own handwriting.
You
right?
would, and also
I think it's for the audience's
It is.
benefit, but that's what makes it a little goofy to me.
it's a little goofy, but I do like the implication that like she sees this note saying you have to kill them all, but maybe the first time it was just testing her handwriting or whatever. Like maybe there was never a prime goal of writing that, and all these other crumpled up notes are simply trying to. But like that's the thing, is there's not a first sequence.
Yeah,
to this
that
movie.
you can't try to pick apart this movie like a traditional time loop movie because I don't think there's a linear series of events, because that's just not what this is.
Because in the end, there's a car crash, and I assume she is killed in the car crash, and that's if you want the first loop. But again, it's such a metaphysical, cosmic thing, like you said, that there doesn't have to be a, well, wait, what happened the first time when she went there?
And I also just think the crash, like, yes, like that's how she died, but I think that crash happens over and over again, and she has to look at it over and over again.
Yeah.
So.
But if I had to guess, I would, and I don't know if Christopher Smith, I believe, is the writer
Fake
and director.
person name.
That is not a real name.
That's not a real name.
He's actually made a few movies. I haven't seen any of them because they're like
either.
British movies, but like they've got some names in them. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm curious if I would enjoy them like I do this, but I don't know if he's ever commented on, gave a definitive answer. But my guess would be she was on the way to the harbor with her son, got into a car crash and died, and then this is kind of like. When she tells the taxi driver she'll be right back, but isn't, like that's the loop.
There's some cool little visuals around this part as she's kind of encountering past versions of herself or things that her other selves have done. Like she looks down into this grate because she sees something down there, can't quite tell what it is, realizes it's a pile of lockets, and as she kind of jerks back from it, her own locket gets ripped off and falls down there, joining the pile of lockets from other Jesses.
And that's a good way to set up later the pile of bodies, which is one of the best visuals.
That might
of
be
the
my
movie.
favorite shot in this whole movie because it just looks really good.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering kind of how they did it. The comp is really impressive.
Yeah. We'll get there soon because she doesn't want to kill everyone.
There is also a version of her on this ship that very much does want to kill everyone.
Yeah, because when she hears the gunshot and goes to the theater, Greg is still dead, right? Yeah, this time Greg is already shot.
Yeah.
But this time she manages to save.
Yeah, she saves. What is it?
Duncan. It's a dumb name. What is it?
It's Downey, like the little bear.
Nobody's named Downey.
Yeah,
It's a middle name at
or
best.
last name.
Yeah. Or detergent name.
I was about to say like the bear, like the Downey bear.
They're not the Charmin.
No,
bears,
no,
huh?
not the Downey bear's tiny and cute.
Okay.
It's kind of. I feel like it sounds like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
It talks?
I think so. Yeah.
Does it sing about its hiney?
No, I don't believe it
Fucking
sings
hate
about
the
it.
Charmin bears. If I could murder any fictional mascot, I would just have their pelts all throughout the house. And the little kid, especially the little fucking kid bear.
Always talking about his hiney. It drives James insane.
I hate
truly.
those fucking bears.
Yeah.
They're disgusting. Just a bear shit horse. That's got to be what it's referencing.
Yeah, I think that is why
Okay.
they're the Charmin bears.
Fucking hate them.
Yeah. Anyway,
So she saves Downey and
Sally. We realize Sally's the one who sends that panicked transmission we hear in the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Did we even talk about that? No.
It's during the storm when they're trying to reach the Coast Guard and they hear a transmission that's like, she's killing everyone.
Yeah.
Ah.
So that's this Sally 2, sending that after she gets saved. Because, like, Jess 1 sees Baghead Jess shooting at them, and she shoots back and kind of, like, hits him in the corner of the head. But she saves Sally and Downey and then, like, leaves to do something else. And then Baghead Jess finds them, but takes off the Baghead and is like, here, follow me into room 237. Nothing bad happens in room 237. No, she slits Downey's throat. It's also very violent and like sudden. And Sally's reaction is very visceral, like, oh my fucking God. And she stabs Sally in the gut, but Sally does get away again.
Yeah, she doesn't quite die.
Oh, that's when she sends the signal. But then she like makes her way upstairs to like the top deck. And that's when Jess 1 finds her again. And yeah, this is the shot we were talking about because you see Jess 1 come outside and you see her look like, oh my God. And then it cuts to what she's seeing. And it's so many dead Sallys.
Yeah, and then our current Sally kind of crawling into this pile of her
Just
dead
adding herself to the
cells.
pile.
It's such a cool shot.
And yeah, like there are close-ups where I noticed you can only clearly see one of them face-wise, and the rest are kind of obscured.
The wide you can see a bunch of them.
In the wide, there's a bunch of them. I did notice some lookalikes.
Really?
Yeah, it's just they're dressed up in the same outfit. Their hair is kind of like tousled and matted and then there's blood on their face. So it kind of helps the illusion.
Yeah.
So I don't know how many comps there were, but like it's a great effect.
It looks really nice, yeah.
You see it and there's seagulls there and it's fucking awesome. It just looks so cool. And everyone's very confused. Sally doesn't know why she's in a pile of her dead selves. But then she does die again. And then Jess like looks down on the deck and sees 2 more of her selves.
Yeah.
I think she sees Jess 2 killing Baghead Jess.
Right.
And with a fucking like crowbar, just beating the shit out of her.
And if you're listening to this and this doesn't make sense, it doesn't 100% make sense to us either. It's fine.
Because this shot really throws a wrench into trying to figure out if there's a linear, because she sees 2 more of herself. And then later, when Jess 1 puts on the Baghead and gets knocked overboard, she says something different. Because she doesn't say the same thing of like, you have to kill them all.
This time she says something about saving their son.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's just a minor variance in all these loops, or if someone could explain it by saying, no, there's actually like 4 different Jesses, and these are but I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Yeah. This is when she realizes that this all resets whenever everyone's dead. So that's why her other selves keep telling her to kill them all, so that like by a certain loop she can kill them all and be prepared for Triangle to show back up so she can board it and get them all to not get on the Aeolus.
I don't know what her long-term plan is.
I don't either, but I think it's just prevent them all from getting on. I don't know. I don't really know what her plan is.
Because like the Triangle is still an upside-down capsized ship. They're not getting anywhere.
They're not
but maybe
go anywhere.
They'll get rescued or something. I don't know. But yes, she does determine that as soon as Sally 2 dies in that pile, she sees the ship show up again.
Yeah.
And this is when she decides, like you said, okay, I'll kill this round of them, and that'll be it, and I'll stop this loop. But to do that, I'm going to baghead it up, and that's when she becomes Baghead Jess.
Yeah.
Who we see, and this is fun. On a rewatch, I noticed that the first time through, after Victor runs off after having pooped his pants maybe, Greg tells Sally and Downey, stay in here in the dining room for Victor. I'm going to go elsewhere. Then the next time we see Downey and Sally, they are walking through the ship, and Downey says, we're supposed to meet them at the theater. and so you're like, wait, I thought you were supposed to wait for Victor. So then when the time loop begins, you're like, oh, we're going to see Jess tell them to go to the theater. But you don't. In the second loop of it, Jess 1 does not tell them that. And so you're like, was that? And also, I like how they do this visually. He's eating a banana. Like, they're in the dining room, and then when you see them walking through the halls to go to the theater, he's like eating a banana. And then in the second time through, same thing happens. They're in the dining room, and then you just see them, and they're like, we're supposed to be going to the theater. And you might think like, no, did something get cut? Is the editing weird? And he's eating this banana. It's the third time through where it starts with them still in the dining room. He picks up a banana and starts eating it. And this is when Jess, who has become Baghead Jess, comes up and is like, go to the theater. She tells them that. So it's like there is at least like 3 loops going on.
Like all at the same time?
No, I think you have to think of it as every time they board, it does not reset the loop. It's like every other time maybe that they board is a loop, with that middle one being its own thing. It's very confusing, and I don't fully understand it, but like I
don't
kind
even
of
know if you have to.
Yeah, but like I do like that like there are things that are left out the first time, still left out the second time, and this time you see it, because not only is that like he grabs the banana and she says to go meet him at the theater, this is when we see her shoot Greg, because Baghead Jess, now that she has bagheaded it up, it's still Jess 1, approaches Greg with the gun up in the box seat of the theater.
Yeah.
And he is like, I don't know who you are. And then he sees her fucking wedges and is like, wait, Jess. And then she like shoots him. And that's why when we first found Greg and he was shot, he said Jess shot him.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. This last version of Jess, we see that fight with her first self from this Baghead perspective.
Oh, but also she does, after shooting Greg, she also kills Sally and Downey.
Yeah.
This round, but the camera just stays on her, which I thought was tasteful to not have to see them get like shot again.
Shot again.
Yeah. So yeah, then it's that fight scene that we said was really cool.
And this time, we follow the Jess that gets pushed off the ship.
Yeah, and also it's fun because you see Jess 3 at this point, I think, do the thing where she like throws something to distract.
Something to make the noise to make.
But then you see like it's Jess 1 being like, wait, I remember doing that. So
it doesn't work.
That's why it doesn't work. Yeah. But yes, we see them get to the side of the ship where the fight's happening.
Right.
At one point, Jess 3 like kicks away the crowbar, and she just like fucking kick. And I hope she hit it with her wedge, because that's like a metal crowbar that she sends flying. And I'm like, if you hit that with your bare toes, you ain't walking, lady.
If they're platform wedges,
probably
she might be okay.
Yeah.
So yes, this Jess goes off the ship. We follow her. She washes up onto shore, and I'm thinking, is it just going to be this weird society of Jesses? That's what I thought it would be, is all the versions of her that fell off the ship and washed up on shore, and they've created this little Gilligan's Island society.
I would watch that.
No, she hitchhikes home because a car drives by.
Yeah, and this is her waking up on the beach and the little crabs on the beach that they like
shots we see earlier.
hinted at earlier, which is a nice touch to like kind of situate you.
Yeah,
I love her. Yeah, it cuts from her like hitchhiking to like a side shot of her fucking
just
running down the street. I love it. I love it.
I don't know why she didn't have the guy drop her off.
Well, it's maybe because
she is worried another version of herself is at home, which there is a version of herself that is at her house. We see that version do a bunch of stuff from the beginning of the movie, like hanging up laundry, getting the little toy boat out from the pool.
Mm-hmm. And that's what sets her off. She's like, why do I fucking buy anything for you if you can't fucking take care of it? Her accent's starting to slip as she's yelling.
A little bit. She's angry. She's so angry. She's turning Australian. Turns out she's not a great mom.
Yeah, this is the reveal.
Screaming at this kid. She slaps him.
And Jess 1 is watching through the window at this other her beating her kid and yelling at him.
Yep.
So she's like, I've just done all this to get back to my kid. I'm going to be a better mom now. And to start, I'm going to murder this other me.
Murder my past self. So she does. And it's
so
brutal.
good.
She just sneaks up behind her. You see her in the mirror.
Yeah,
right?
it's because like the abusive Jess is like sitting down in front of a mirror to get ready. And then you just see Jess 1 just fucking walk with a purpose behind her, nail her in the head with a hammer, and just beat the crap out of her.
And the kid sees it.
Yeah.
And so.
But she's like, no, it's cool.
Yeah, she's hugging the kid, being like, no, it's fine. I'm mommy. This is mommy. It's kind of a nightmare.
She puts the other dead her in a duffel bag and puts it in her trunk.
She takes the locket from the original mommy, which is another hint that this is all just still part of this fucking loop. It's so weird. It just keeps feeling like this movie's ending, but it's not, because now we cut to them in the car and they're driving and she's telling her kid, no, it's okay. I'm real mommy. This mommy is nice. Her kid is screaming. It's a bit of a Babadook moment where she's like, why can't you just be normal, kind of? She gets so distracted by the kid that she drifts into
No. She hits a seagull.
That's right. I'm sorry.
She hits a seagull, and that, like, the kid was kind of quiet before, but hitting the seagull is what sets him off. And she gets out of the car to take care of the seagull, and she grabs the dead seagull and throws it off the side of the road. And again, it's a shot of her being like, what? And then you see what she's looking at.
That's right. And there's a pile of dead
seagulls. And she realizes, I'm still in a fucking loop.
Yeah.
So that's when she gets back in the car and she's like, we got to get out of here. And the kid's screaming and she's like, calm down. And this is when she drifts.
Okay, yes. Yeah. So she drifts into a truck, I believe.
Yeah.
And that car goes flying. They
nicks the truck and fucking flips this
It's
car.
like a Fast and Furious stunt. This car
so
is
cool.
spinning through the air. Aftermath of this accident. She looks like she's perfectly intact, which is kind of a hint that like she's just been dead the whole time.
Yeah.
You can't just walk away from that.
But like the kid's dead. The body of the Jess that she killed fell out.
Yeah.
And which I feel is like a visual reference to like
the original accident, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a marching band across the street
that has the logo of the boat.
And they're playing Anchors Away, which also plays on a record on the boat. So it's like, this is how she died. These were her last memories as she was dying. And that's why they populate this purgatory for her.
Taxi driver walks up and
like the contrast is all high, so it looks different now.
Everything turns all weird and saturated and blue. And the taxi driver says something to the effect of, "Oh, there's no saving the boy.
There's no saving the boy."
And so she then asks to be taken to the harbor, which she does. And when they get there, he says something like, "You'll be back, won't you?" And she goes, "Yeah, I'll be." I promise I'll be back, which someone on Reddit pointed out mirrors the myth of Sisyphus, because the reason that he is punished,
which I didn't know this, but
is because Sisyphus basically asks to leave hell. He asks, I think, Persephone for permission to leave hell, which she grants him on the condition that he returns.
But he doesn't.
And so then is basically put in his own special hell where he has to roll the rock up. We all know the rolling the rock up the hill.
Yeah. So this cab driver's like, I'll leave the meter running. You better come back. And she says, I will. But she's not going to, because she's going to get on that boat.
Yeah.
And so that's ties into the purgatory. And then, you see the scene of her like getting there, the boy seeing her and taking her to the boat and being like, I don't think she's okay. And then they take off.
Yep.
Starting the loop again.
Yep.
And that's when it finally ends.
That's when it ends. Good stuff.
I enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if it's worth watching. Actually, no, I think it would be worth watching if you chose to listen to this and just have it spoiled. Because I think it'd be interesting going and watching it and looking for maybe little hints as to what's going on.
If you listen to this without having watched it, you can watch it now and kind of be in the position I was watching it this time, the second time, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, I think this, if you go in blind, I think this movie's worth watching twice.
It'll be interesting to edit this episode because I'll get to click through the movie again.
You'll get to see the movie a lot again. And you'll probably find some stuff that we didn't bring up that like is cool. That it's one of those movies that has like a lot of little rewards for watching it a second time, which I always appreciate.
Yeah.
The thought went into this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
so, yeah.
And again, I like the way it was shot. I would check out Christopher Smith.
It's funny how I used to really hate that kind of late 2000s digital look. Like
when it was happening,
I hated it, and now it makes me feel kind of nostalgic.
Yeah.
But if you're watching this and thinking like, oh, this kind of looks gross, we thought that back then too. We weren't like, wow, this is the next new great thing. It's digital. We all were like, what the fuck? It looks like trash.
I remember all the like. There was one movie in
Public
particular.
Enemies?
No, but that is up there. But it was like a snowy. I remember like sliding down a snow and like the snow on the mountain and like with the woods and shit. But the snow was like blue because of the coloring. Just, everything was so fucking blue. It was the thing with the posters were all blue and orange.
Oh yeah,
you know,
posters were all blue and orange, and every movie had a bleach bypass ran on it.
Yeah, it's rough.
I'm glad we're over the bleach bypass. I'm
for real.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Google bleach bypass, and you'll know exactly what style and era movie I'm talking about.
Those highlights are all blown out.
But late
man.
2000s, absolutely, that's what everything looked like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So glad we're past that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Triangle. 2 thumbs up from me.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it. It's sci-fi, action-y, horror, fantasy. Not really fantasy, but fantastical a little bit.
Sure.
Whatever. Fuck it. Just go watch it. It's fun.
Yeah. Next episode, fingers crossed, we can get all the Phantom of the Operas in. Really want to. I'm enjoying the ones we've watched so far.
We watched the first 3. I feel like that was a good break.
Yes.
Because the next one is like
Phantom
when
of the
shit gets
Paradise,
weird.
yeah.
Yeah. But we watched like the 3 classic versions. We did the silent
Lon
film,
Chaney.
the Claude Rains
Claude
40s.
Rains 44, I think.
And then the Hammer.
Hammer 62.
Yeah. So with like 20-year increments, all pretty similar and straightforward. And now we're going to get into some weird shit. And then I love that we're going to end it with the musical that you'll watch with us, right, Gressel? He just acquiesces with a, yes, I will.
Cool. Well, that's it for this week's social media.
Yeah. Dead Meat James, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, maybe Threads. Who knows? Sky Blue. I don't know. Don't you need to be Blue Sky?
I think. Yeah, it's invite only, and no one's invited us so far. So.
Yo, Blue Sky, you had a fucking moment. You had the chance.
You blew it.
You blew it. You blue skied it, man. Because why'd you have to be invite only? You had a moment to seize when everyone wanted to get off Twitter, but you were like, invite only. And now Threads is going to come in and take it, and then we're just going to give more info to Zuck. You made Zuck look good. Well, you didn't. Musk did.
Yeah.
It's really, what was it?
Oh, that they're the Donald Trump and George W. Bush of social media. It's the most like horrifically accurate comparison because Elon Musk is Trump and then Zuck is George W. Bush, where we all kind of just,
I never forgave Bush.
No, I never did either.
Enough. I'm old enough to not forget.
I remember. I'll never fucking forget. But like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, he's a sweet old man who paints pictures. Yeah.
He gives cough drops to Michelle Obama.
Oh, that's great.
All right. I'm at Carebeck, CREBECC on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want merch, deadmeatstore.com.
Yeah.
That's Molly.
That's Molly. Gressel's behind the camera. Thank you, Gressel.
Thank you, Gressel. Yeah. Till next time, I'm Chelsea.
And I'm James.
And this has been the Dead Meat Podcast.